Alright, Math 1, solving inequalities, -1. So we needed to work on some of these problems to really get down these two steps. Main thing to remember, this means divide, so the opposite is multiplication. We've got a subtraction, opposite addition, addition, opposite subtraction. Okay, we only deal with one side at a time, but we always have to do the same thing to both sides. We're trying to get the variable all by itself. So first thing I'd do here is I'd add 10 to both sides, because order of operations says multiply before add or subtract, but when we're solving it's add or subtract before multiply or divide. Okay, so -8 plus 10 would be +2 is less than r divided by 9, because that becomes 0. Okay, to get rid of that dividing by 9, we times both sides by 9. That becomes 1. We're left with r is greater than 18. So now remember, if it's greater than or less than, hollow circle. Greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, filled in circle. Okay, if the variable's bigger, shade to the right. If the variable's smaller, shade to the left. Okay, so r is bigger than 18, and there's no equal to, so hollow circle, shade to the right. Okay, now number 2. So a plus 10, so first thing we do is subtract 10 to both sides. 12 minus 10 is 2, is less than, that becomes 0. b divided by 6. So I times both sides by 6, giving me 12 is less than. That cancels out and becomes just b. So 12, hollow circle again because there's no equal to. And b is bigger than 12, so we shade to the right. Okay, number 3. -6, so I start by adding 6 to both sides. Okay, that becomes 0, and we get n divided by 9 is less than 6 minus 5 would be 1. Then we times both sides by 9. That gives us n is less than 9. So at 9, we do a hollow circle, n is smaller, so I shade to the left. Okay, number 4. Add 4 to both sides first. That becomes 0. n divided by 2 is greater than or equal to -6 plus 4 is -2. To get rid of that dividing by 2, I times by 2. We get n is greater than or equal to -4. So at -4, draw a circle. It's equal to, so this time I fill it in. N is bigger, so I shade to the right. Okay. Number 5, same idea. Subtract 3. 1 minus 3 is -2 is less than k over 8. So k divided by 8, so I times both sides by 8, giving me -16 is less than k. So -16, there's no equal to, so hollow circle. K is bigger, shade to the right. Alright, now if we'll look at, we'll come back to 6, but if we look at 7 and 8, we've still got add or subtract and divide. The difference is, notice up here, the variable is just the only thing being divided. Up here, the whole thing is being divided, and that's like 9 and 10 as well. So on these ones, we actually have to change the order of what we're doing. And so first, I would multiply by 4, because the whole right side is being divided by 4. So those would cancel. I'd be left with 8 plus r on the right side, and then 4 times -2 is -8. Then I subtract 8 from both sides, giving me -16 is greater than r. So no hollow circle at -16. 16 is bigger, r is smaller, so I shade to the left. Okay. Number 8, same idea. Times by 6. That becomes x minus 4 is less than or equal to 0 times 6 is 0. Add 4. X is less than or equal to 4. Okay. Notice the order only matters because the whole side is under there, whereas here just the 1 is. That's why I had to switch up the order. So I go to 4. It's equal to, so filled in circle. X is smaller, so I shade to the left. we'll come back to the other one. Okay, so times by 3, negative 9 is greater than m minus 6, because that becomes 1, and so we can get rid of it. Okay, then we add 6 to both sides. Negative 9 plus 6 is negative 3, is greater than m. So negative 3, hollow circle, because there's no equal to. M is smaller, so I shade to the left. Number 10, times by 13 on both sides. That cancels. We're left with 8 plus b is less than or equal to 26. Subtract 8, and b is less than or equal to 18. So 18, fill in my circle because it's equal to. B is smaller, so I shade to the left. Now, on number 6, a few different ways that I can tackle this problem. It's kind of similar to 7, 8, 9, and 10, in that 8 is being multiplied by the whole thing. So I could start out by dividing both sides by 8. That would give me negative 5 plus n is less than negative 3. I would add 5 to both sides, giving me positive 2 is greater than or equal to n. So hollow circle at 2, n is smaller, so I shade to the left. Okay. The other way to do this problem would be to actually use distribution. So I take the 8 and I multiply it, so I get negative 24 is greater than, and it would be 8 times negative 5 plus 8 times n. So that would be negative 40 plus 8n is less than negative 24. I'd add 40 to both sides, giving me 8n is less than negative 24 plus 40 should be, I think, a positive 16, right? Yep. Then I divide by 8, and I get 2 is greater than n, which is the same thing we got up here. So there we go on that one, guys.